Hey everybody, how you doing out there? I don't know if people will see this or not as it is live, but it'll be very quick. So obviously, I am still here today at WMNH 95.3 FM as this is streaming, and I just want to take before I get out of here. Before I finish up, I just have to finish uploading the show, and the show's live 4 to 6, and then I'm here for a little bit afterward, getting the show uploaded and anything else I have to do before I leave to get prepared for the next day. But just a quick video, and this will go up on YouTube as well. Regarding today's show, this will just be if you are watching this, this shouldn't take more than 5 minutes, but this is important. Something happened today on Matt Connarton Unleashed that was very disruptive to the show. So I want to take this opportunity while I'm still here today. And by the way, this is not going out live on the air because there's actual programming on. This is only live on Facebook right now, just so we're clear. But Radio Land is not hearing this, but this is related to today's show, and I wanted to explain something that happened on the air. And I want to apologize to the audience. I think I owe the audience an apology because the second hour of today's show was not up to the usual standard that I like to present. And I'm sorry about that. Something very strange transpired. If you were listening live, you know, it's funny this happens too, just as, yesterday we were celebrating my 5-year anniversary here, and then the next day something goes horribly awry during my program. But here's what happened. So we did the first hour, went to break, and I checked my messages on my phone. I had a call from a number that had shown up as restricted actually on my cell phone. So I listened to my voicemail quickly while the song was playing. If you're a regular listener, that at the top of the hour, I play a song and then play the commercial spots to be the bridge into the second hour. So I checked my messages, and it was a gentleman named Trooper Carmine. That's how he identified himself, from the New York State Police. And I was like, what is this about? So I tried calling him back quickly, and I wasn't able to reach him. I had to speak with someone else because Trooper Carmine was on the road and so forth. Anyway, what proceeded to happen was, during the second hour of the show, I had to bring up some music and play music. And while I was on the phone trying to figure this out, trying to connect, Trooper Carmine and I are playing phone tag. And then we came back for a few minutes, and Easy G was talking, and I had to interrupt him and say, wait, hold on. I'm getting a call. I started another music track. It was very haphazard. It was very sloppy. I want to apologize for everyone for that. Again, I have a pretty high standard. I take a lot of pride in this. I have a high standard for how I conduct myself on the air, how the show goes, and the professionalism of it and so forth. It's very, very important to me. So I'm sorry that happened. That is the first time in the history of the show that anything like that has happened. And it made for a very sloppy and probably very difficult to listen to second hour. So I'm sorry. And I'm sorry to Easy G, who was here, who had to endure that. Because normally, if someone calls me during the show while I'm on the air, I ignore the call and let it go to voicemail. And it happens, occasionally someone will call me while I'm on the air. They'll be calling my cell phone, and I'll look and I'll see, okay, well, I'll have to call that person back later. Obviously, I'm not going to interrupt my live radio show to take a call on my cell phone. But this was a very unique situation. I didn't know why the New York State Police were calling me. I couldn't imagine that I was in trouble for anything. I mean, there's an old expression, I don't even spit on the sidewalk. I always like to say, if you run a background check on me, you'll find that I'm so clean, I'm boring. I'm just, Norm, God rest his soul, he used to tease me about being a goody two-shoes. But I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know, I have family in New York State. So I didn't know why the New York State Police were calling me, but it's law enforcement trying to reach me about something. So I felt compelled to try to sort this out. So again, it disrupted the show. It made for a terrible second hour. and I'll probably edit most of it, if not all of that, out of the podcast when I go to upload it in just a moment before I leave for the day. So that's I wanted to apologize to everyone for that. I take a lot of pride in what I do here. I try to be very professional. I think I succeed most of the time, but today was a failure in that regard. So that's the first part of what I wanted to share with all of you, and again, apologize for it. And the other thing that I wanted to tell you is, and I want this to be a matter of public record, what was going on here, for a couple of reasons. But good news, I am not in any trouble. Actually, it turns out no one is in any trouble. No one broke the law. The reason that Trooper Carmine was trying to reach me, because I called him back again. I just got off the phone with him. I called him after the show, and we talked for a bit. The reason he was trying to reach me was he was given my phone number by to use to call to contact me to get some information on a case that had been opened with the New York State Police. He had been given my phone number by a gentleman named Jose Martinez, and some of you will know who that is. That gentleman also goes by the name Crazy Joe. And again, I want this documented publicly. I want everyone to know exactly what happened. Just for like I said, a couple of reasons. You can figure out what they are. But we don't talk to Crazy Joe on my show anymore. We don't take his calls. He has now, on 2 separate occasions that I'm aware of, gone to the management here and tried to get me in trouble, which I consider a personal betrayal. We can, whatever beef we've got going on, whatever conflict we have going on, online among podcasts or in YouTube videos or whatever, that has nothing to do with anything here at WMNH. So I consider that a personal betrayal when somebody does that, when somebody tries to mess with me and my show by going and complaining to the management here about me. And in this case, something that really didn't even have anything to do with my show. It didn't have anything to do with the station. It had to do with things going on outside of this, but he still tried to get me in trouble. So he's dead to me in that sense. And no, that's not a threat. It's an expression. You'll understand in a moment why that's important. But what he's done now is he contacted law enforcement in New York State and gave them my contact information so they could call me to ask me about about the situation with Jose Martinez and Billy Painter. Billy is a friend of the show. He and I do some business together. He's also a friend, in the friend sense. As well as, not just someone I do some business with, but we love Billy. My little circle and I, we all love Billy, and Billy has done nothing wrong. But Crazy Joe decided to contact the New York State Police to complain about Billy, who, by the way, is in Idaho, in the state of Idaho. Crazy Joe had already contacted the FBI to try to run this play. Didn't work. Didn't get Billy in any trouble because Billy didn't do anything wrong. Online beef, online conflict among podcasts and social media, none of that's criminal. It can become criminal if there's actual criminal threatening involved, threats of physical violence to someone. None of that has occurred here. There's nothing here. It's a big nothing burger, as they say. But Crazy Joe contacted the FBI about Billy, didn't go anywhere. Crazy Joe once called his local police department where he was living at the time about Christian to complain about him. Obviously, that didn't go anywhere. People being mean to you, people not appreciating your racism and your anti-Semitism, or just that you're a bad, hateful person, and telling you they don't like it, that is not a threat, and that's not criminal. People are allowed to not like you. But now he has contacted the New York State Police, and the state police, Trooper Carmine, whom I spoke with, Very, very nice and very reassuring. He told me, no, you're not in any trouble. And he made it clear that Billy Painter isn't in any trouble either, but he received a complaint. He's got to follow up on it. But he was very cool. And as soon as he told me that it was Jose Martinez who had contacted him, I immediately started laughing. So that kind of set the tone for the rest of the conversation. So Joe, if you happen to watch this your little going to the New York State Police didn't work. But again, I wanted that publicly documented. So that's what happened. That's what was going on today's show in the second half. I'm not in any trouble. Nobody's in any trouble, actually. Maybe Jose Martinez is in trouble for filing fake reports or frivolous reports, but I don't know. I think there's a high bar for that. So he's probably not in any trouble either, but but dude, good job wasting people's time in law enforcement. Law enforcement doesn't have time for this nonsense, okay? Seriously. The FBI, the New York State Police, nobody has time for your crap. Now, I will give Crazy Joe credit for one thing. Just as a man and as a broadcaster, I will give Crazy Joe credit for one thing. Dude, and if you want to pat yourself on the back for this, you can. If you want to gloat about it in a YouTube video, you can. Hey, you got some revenge on me. I don't care. I don't care about you. I don't care about anything you do at this point. But you know what? So if it makes you feel good because here's what you did. By doing this with your little stunt with the New York State Police, you managed to disrupt my show. You did. You disrupted the second hour of my show today by doing this. So, hey, I hope that makes you feel good. And if you want to gloat about that, you go right ahead. You go right ahead. But here's the thing, dude. Just know this. I know, we all know what your real problem with me is. I'm sitting here in an actual radio station, hosting an actual radio show on FM radio, and you can't figure out how to attach an MP3 file to an email, let alone do anything approaching what I do. That's the real problem with you, Jose Martinez. And that's why you tried to get me in trouble here and you failed. That's why you tried to get Billy in trouble with the FBI and you failed. And now you've involved the New York State Police, or they were involved. I think the case is probably pretty much closed. Although I was invited by Trooper Carmine, he said, I'm of no obligation to pass this information along to Billy. Of course I will. And Billy is of no obligation to call Trooper Carmine, although he can. Dude, for a guy who talks about backing the blue and who is so concerned about crime allegedly in this country, because you sure talk about it a lot. Oh, you have all kinds of interesting thoughts about crime and who's responsible for crime and all this. Why do you insist on wasting law enforcement's time? No one is threatening you. No one is of a danger to you. Joe, Jose Martinez, listen, dude, no one cares about you enough to want to actually hurt you. No one cares enough. Do you understand? All the talk about, whatever, if you ever did meet and, somebody would get their ass kicked and this and that. Dude, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Beating you up would be elder abuse. You're an old, decrepit, bitter man who could have had a family, by the way. You could have been a part of what we do here. Hell, you could have been, we had this wonderful anniversary celebration yesterday for my show. If things had been different, if you hadn't have been the person that you turned out to be, and instead the person we thought you were when we first met you, hell, you could have driven out here from New York and hung out with us and met Charles and had dinner with us and met everybody here from WMNH. It could have been so different if you had been the person that we thought you were when we met you. But instead you turned out to be this other guy. You turned out to be a racist, and an anti-Semite and a misogynist and a homophobe and all of it. And on top of that, you repeatedly waste time and resources of law enforcement over your nonsense. That's who you turned out to really be. But you won the day, Joe. I'll give you that. I mean, you didn't succeed. You didn't succeed in getting Billy in any trouble. He's not in any trouble. No one's in any trouble. You're probably not in any trouble. But you did disrupt the second hour of my show. Congratulations. But just remember when you're reveling in that, when you're gloating about it, I know why you're so angry at me. The real reason you're angry at me. It's not because I wouldn't help you. It's not because I didn't want anything to do with you when you say these terrible things about my partner, Jenny, whom I love more than anything. When you insult her, nothing you've ever said about me hurts me at all. Because to me, you're a clown. I laugh at you. Nothing you've said about me has hurt me, has hurt my feelings, not even a tiny bit. But the things you say about Jenny genuinely bother her. So that genuinely bothers me. But the only reason you do these things or trying to get me in trouble here with management, all of the things that you've done, and what you managed to do today, disrupting my show in the way that you did, indirectly. I don't think you planned it, by the way. You're not smart enough. It's just how it worked out. Everything that you've done, if you want to gloat about it, you can. But just know, I know, and everyone else knows, it's because you are jealous. That's the only reason, Joe. You will never have the last laugh. Not really. Because we know why you're so frustrated and why you behave the way that you do. Anyway, so that's it. I see Dirk in the chat room saying, wait, what's going on here? Dirk, I had I don't want to recap the whole thing. I mean, the video will be available, of course, as soon as I'm done. I just wanted this to be a quick thing before I leave for the day. But I was receiving phone calls today from the New York State Police about you know who, and I had to deal with that. But I got a good laugh out of it when Trooper Carmine, who was great, by the way. I actually enjoyed talking with him just because he was so nice. When he told me that Jose Martinez had filed a complaint, I just burst out laughing. I could not contain myself. Part of it was relief because I didn't think I was in trouble for anything. Why would I be in trouble with the New York State Police? But like I said, I do have family there. So I didn't know if maybe there was something that had happened with a family member that I was being notified of. I didn't know. But no, everything's fine. And Crystal is in the chat room and says, OMG, isn't filing a false police report a crime? Crazy stalkers suck. And Dirk says, am I able to see what happened second hour? I had to leave after the first. Well, Dirk, what happened second hour isn't really worth watching or listening to. I'm actually going to clean it up for the podcast. It wasn't good radio because what happened was I was playing phone tag with the New York State Police. And so I kept playing a song and muting the mics so I could deal with that, trying to call Trooper Carmine back, and then I see that I'm getting a call, and then I'm trying to get to the phone in time, and it wasn't good. And that's the main reason why I wanted to pop on Facebook Live for just a couple of minutes and speak to the audience, is to apologize for the debacle that was the second hour of yesterday's show, because like I said, it was not up to the standard that I like to present here. All right, that's it. I gotta finish up so I can get out of here. Thank you all. Love you all. Crystal says, sorry this happened to you and Billy. It comes with the territory. But the dude is wasting the time of law enforcement, and that's not okay. You know, he talks about backing the blue, but he sure doesn't show it. Okay, that's it. I just wanted to pop on Facebook and address what happened on today's show. Apologize for the cluster mess that it was. I guess I could say the actual word. I'm not on the air right now. I'm just doing this on Facebook, but I won't. I try to keep it clean wherever I am, actually. All right, that's it. Love you all. Thank you again for everyone who participated in it yesterday. It was great. And I will, as I say when I'm on the air, I will talk at y'all a little bit later. Bye, everybody.